Have you been diagnosed with shoulder impingement, or have you just diagnosed yourself? If that's the case, then stay tuned for an exercise program that I've used with my patients for many years, and let's see if we can't tackle that pain that you've been having. Welcome to InjuryGuru.com. I'm Carla Schimmelfinnig, registered physical therapist, and I'm talking today about shoulder impingement and just how common it is and what a problem it can cause in the shoulder. Let me just explain what shoulder impingement is. So shoulder impingement is when the rotator cuff tendon is being compressed or squeezed. There are lots of reasons, or several reasons, why that rotator cuff can be compressed or squeezed. The most common are a bone spur, or just arthritis and wear and tear, or just irritation and swelling from activities that we do on a repetitive or regular basis. The most common people that will suffer from impingement are athletes that use a lot of overhead motion with their particular sport, or adults who do the same thing, use a lot of that overhead reaching on a daily basis. There's also a lot of us adults that will get impingement simply because of wear and tear, hereditary factors, and we just get some arthritis in that shoulder, and it can cause irritation and swelling to that rotator cuff, which then takes up some of that precious room in that shoulder for the rotator cuff and causes us pain and shoulder impingement. I'd like to take the opportunity in this video to explain to you what my patients will report and experience, as well as give you some tips on what you can do to help alleviate, avoid, and just decrease some of the pain and problems that you're having from this shoulder impingement. So what my patients will often complain about, when I see them in the clinic for the first time, they're generally going to tell me that they have pain reaching up over their head or reaching back behind them. They'll describe that pain in that shoulder, so really just kind of a general pain around that shoulder. It might be sharp and stabbing in that shoulder when they do go to raise that arm up or reach behind them. Otherwise, they'll complain of just shoulder pain and ache on a general basis throughout the day. After a while, with that shoulder pain and irritation that's been going on, what happens is the shoulder just gets weak. So all the muscles in that shoulder start to get weak, and they'll just say that it's not as strong as the other shoulder. If this shoulder impingement isn't addressed, what it typically leads to is a rotator cuff tear. Now, most of you viewing this video have most likely heard of a rotator cuff tear, or you have known someone who's had a rotator cuff tear and then has had to have that repaired. And most often, the only fix for that rotator cuff tear is surgery. And so I'm really glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're able to view these videos, and let's just get at this pain that you've been having, try to decrease this irritation and swelling that you've been having from this impingement, and see if we just can't get you going back in the right direction and back to the things that you need to do. So I told you I was going to tell you a few things that you can do for this shoulder impingement, or things that I think are pretty important on a daily basis. And the first one is posture. Posture is very important when it comes to the shoulder. A lot of people don't think about posture when it relates to the shoulder. For that good posture, you want to make sure that when you are sitting, whether you're sitting in a desk at work, in your car, or even on an airplane. I have a brother that sits on an airplane for most every week, and so he tends to tell me his aches and pains. So anyway, when you're sitting, you want to make sure that you have a nice arch in your low back, and you can see that here. So let me just show you slouching. So this is how most of us will typically sit, especially as the day goes on and we start to get tired, or we've been doing a particular activity for a while. We've been sitting on our computers, really concentrating and thinking, and so we tend to slouch a lot. But like I said, I want you to have a nice arch in your low back, so an inward arch, or just that forward arching movement of your low back. And if you can get this arch in your low back down, it automatically will place your head, shoulder, and the rest of your spine in the most natural position, in the position that you need and what's best for that shoulder. Another thing that's really important when it comes to shoulder impingement is just laying off of those things or those movements that are causing your typical pain. So if you've been to the doctor, or if you had gone to the doctor, he would tell you avoid those things that are causing pain. It's always easier said than done, but it is really important for the shoulder impingement, or when you're dealing with shoulder impingement. So just avoid those painful activities, whether it's reaching up, reaching behind you, or lifting or pulling on things. I'd like you to use ice and Advil on a daily basis. So for that ice, I'd like you to use that ice 3 to 4 times a day. You can use an ice bag right on that shoulder, just surround that pain, or you can use a cold pack if you have a cold pack. 15 minutes is all you need for that ice, but again, 3 to 4 times a day when you do the ice. If you can take Advil, and if you're unsure, just make sure you check with your doctor or your pharmacist. But if you can take some Advil, then I'd like you to also add Advil to that regimen, and I want you to do that breakfast, lunch, dinner, and bedtime, 2 at each of those times. And I'd like you to do that for the first 7 to 10 days. So as soon as you start this program, I want you to start with that ice and the Advil. I would like you to commit to this program for 2 weeks at least. You may need a little bit longer than that, so maybe 3 weeks, if you have a really irritated shoulder or you've been dealing with a lot of pain. So don't be surprised if you need to extend that a little bit. If you definitely would say that you get to the end of that 2 weeks and you have a decrease in pain, at least like a 30 to 50% decrease in pain, then it's okay for you to go on to the second exercise program for shoulder impingement, and you can find that on the website. If you are having pain that goes through that shoulder, but actually goes all the way down the arm and even into the hand, or numbness and tingling that goes down that hand or goes down that arm, then I want you to call your doctor. Chances are you are not dealing with a shoulder impingement and maybe dealing with something else. So just give your doctor a call if you would say that you have pain down that arm, numbness or tingling, and even some weakness in that arm or that hand. If you get to the end of this 2 to 3 weeks and you would say that there is little to no change in your pain, or worse yet, you would say that the pain is worse, then by all means, make sure you listen to your body and do yourself a favor and get to the doctor. So let me show you the first exercise in this program, and it's called a pendulum exercise. This exercise you're going to use at the start of every session that you do during the day for these first 2 to 3 weeks. For this pendulum exercise, you need a surface that you can lean over, lean on. You're going to take your good arm and you're going to lean on that arm. You're going to place that on the surface, lean over that, and then I'll show you the exercise. But as far as a surface to use, you can use your kitchen table, a kitchen chair. I've had patients tell me that they use a coffee table or an ottoman, even their couch or a bed. So a surface like that, and like I said, you're going to use your good arm, put that on the surface, and then you're going to lean forward. So I'm leaning forward at my waist, I'm bent over, and I'm just going to let that arm really relax. So the painful arm is just going to hang forward. I'm going to let all these muscles around that shoulder really relax. Okay? You don't want to be holding it up. Just let it really relax. And what you're going to do is just start moving or swinging that arm forward and back. Now it's not forward way up here. It's just a small motion. So just forward and back. All right, and just kind of let momentum take you. So you'll have to initiate that movement of forward and back, and then you can just kind of let gravity and just the motion of your arm, the weight of your arm, carry that back and forth. All right, so you're also going to do side to side like this. And again, it's not bringing that hand and arm way up here. It's just side to side, and I'm letting momentum kind of carry that, just like that. And then I also want you to do some circles. And you can go clockwise, counterclockwise, or you can do a mix of the two. All right, and again, you're just letting momentum just kind of take that and carry that around. For the pendulum exercise, I want you to do one set of 15 to 20 repetitions in each direction. So one set forward and back, one set side to side, and then one set of the circles clockwise or counterclockwise, or a mix of the two. When you do this, I want you to do it 3 to 4 times a day. And remember, that's just for those first 2 to 3 weeks. So you can do anything for 2 to 3 weeks. So I know it's frequent, but that's how much I need you to do it. That's what that shoulder needs right now. So let's get started. I want you to view the rest of the videos in this exercise program and get started. Let's see if we can't get at some of that pain that you've been having, get rid of that swelling and irritation, and get you back to doing all the things that you need to do.